Hi everyone, it's Rebecca with linkinglewiscounty.com, and on today's episode of Hear All About It, we have Matt Morrow here to talk about the Stop-DWI campaign. And Matt, you are the chairperson of that, the coordinator?
The coordinator.
You're the head guy, we'll just call you, right? The man on the scene. So you're here to talk about a little bit about this program and then some upcoming things you guys got going on. So give us a little background and history of what this group actually does.
Okay, I guess a good place to start is with just a basic fact about DWI. Every day in the United States, about 32 people die in drunk driving related crashes. That's about one person every 45 minutes. In 2020, 11,654 people died in alcohol impaired driving traffic deaths. And these deaths are all preventable.
Absolutely. Like we were talking about earlier, I kind of said I kind of feel like, as a grown up and society's kind of changed, it kind of seems like we've been doing better. We're doing better, but we still have a lot farther to go.
Right.
Where do we need to make some adjustments that you feel in this as a society?
Well, the Stop-DWI program this year rolled out a new task, I guess you could say, for the Stop-DWI coordinators. It's community engagement. That's kind of what we're doing here. Is we're trying to get out there into the community, more of a prevention model. Law enforcement sides, the enforcement, and we do some community engagement to try to educate and prevent future fatalities.
Right. So I'm guessing too, the younger you get to people, the better. At what age do you guys start kind of talking about this or getting into the schools? And
for several years, even before I was a Stop-DWI coordinator, we tried it. And my other job is probation. So we're trying we get into the schools. For example, this week, recently we were at Copenhagen Central School. They had the event is called Save a Life Tour. They bring in simulated driving machines where they simulate impaired driving.
Okay.
And we were there to kind of interact with the students.
And is this at all age groups at Copenhagen?
At Copenhagen it was 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Okay.
That same company, Save a Life Tour, was at Harrisville earlier this spring. And Harrisville had 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. For probably 8 or 9 years now, I've been going into Lowville Academy on career day.
Okay.
And my sister's a teacher there, so I go into her 10th grade class, and I speak to the students there mostly about the penalty end of drinking and driving.
Okay.
Trying to, I guess, teach the kids, scare the kids.
Preventative medicine.
Yes.
Yeah. And what, in your opinion, and no one's holding you to this, how soon as parents do you start talking to your kids about alcohol and that sort of thing?
That's a good question. I don't think... Definitely when teens start driving, you want to...
You want
to have those conversations. This time of year is prom season. You definitely want to talk to your students or your children before attending proms. They want to have hopefully none of our students around here are drinking. None of us are naive enough to believe that doesn't happen.
Right.
Hopefully they have a plan, have a safe plan to get home.
Right. I am probably dating myself here, but I remember in high school we had almost like a contract that we could bring home to our parents and sign that. Is that still something that happens or goes on?
I believe there are still. Part of that Save a Life Tour, they signed pledge cards saying that they would not drive impaired or drive distracted using cell phones.
Yeah, so it was like this contract between, I remember me and my parents that I wasn't saying I wasn't going to drink, but if I did, I certainly was not going to get in a vehicle, and they also signed saying they were a safe place to call without any questions or comments.
Correct. Yep.
Scary.
That sounds like a great plan.
Right. So, what other things do you guys... How is this program funded? I want to talk about that for a minute.
So the Stop-DWI program in general is completely funded by fine collection. So if anyone convicted of a DWI in a Lewis County court, whether it's village courts, town courts, or county court, they'd be ordered to pay a fine, and then that fine money goes directly to the STOP-DWI program. So it's not funded with county taxpayer dollars. It doesn't impact the county budget or anything like that.
Okay. So with these funds, you mentioned like that event at Copenhagen. What are some other things that these funds go to reach out to the community?
So a good portion of our funds goes to enforcement. So there's the high visibility engagement campaign, which I think we'll talk about in a few moments.
Yeah.
But we also fund, we give the sheriff's office and the village police some money outside of those campaign periods for dedicated DWI patrols. The probation department gets a little money from the STOP-DWI program to kind of help enforce and monitor some convicted DWI offenders. And then we buy a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Handouts for
swag.
Swag, yeah,
Yeah.
Swag. We're going to try to be at the fair again this year.
Oh, great.
I took over the program 2 years ago, right at the beginning of COVID. So
Okay.
things have been kind of
Yeah, what a great time to start something new,
Yeah.
right?
But this year I'm hoping to be at the fair again. Schools, some other community events. We were at the zombie fun run. I had a table set up,
Okay.
trying to engage with some kids there.
Great. So let's talk about, you've got one coming up. They're called High
Visibility engagement campaigns.
Okay, and there's several of those throughout the year. When are those?
There's 8 of them throughout the year. There's the STOP-DWI calendar year runs October through the end of September. So it's Halloween, Thanksgiving, the holiday season, Super Bowl, St. Patrick's Day, Memorial Day, July 4th, and Labor Day.
Okay.
And then this year, in particular, I got special permission from the state to treat the SNRP run as a high visibility engagement campaign.
So those high visibility moments are generally, they make pretty much sense when drinking activity would common sense would be increased.
Yep, there's kind of an uptick during those periods.
Right. So that means that the law enforcement is on higher alert, or
Yep, they're out doing dedicated DWI patrols. So, the village police and the sheriff's office typically have X number of patrols on the road, but during these enforcement periods, these engagement campaigns, they can have extra law enforcement out there that's specifically looking for DWI.
Okay. So, and I want to, a good point I think that we should make is not only are the funds directed in that way, but also in putting signage in bars, just spreading the word, trying, it's not about getting people in trouble. It's about trying to stop
Right.
the offense from happening in the first place.
Correct.
So how are some ways that you do that, besides like putting things in bars? And
Well, yeah, we've been to bars, and bar owners were surprisingly receptive. They understood that I'm not discouraging anyone from
having a good
drinking.
time, right? Sure.
Just be responsible.
Right.
Plan ahead, get a ride home. We are trying to partner with the planning department and transportation to, hopefully someday we can partner to, at least during some of these engagement campaigns, get some public transportation, because we are
that would
a
be
rural
great for this
community
area.
where we don't have much.
Yeah.
During the Super Bowl, prior to the Super Bowl, I went around to all the pizza places and some of the fast convenience store pizza places and handed out pizza cutters with a STOP-DWI logo on them and stickers, and asked the pizza restaurants to place a STOP-DWI sticker on the box.
That's great. And it's sometimes just that little visual plants a seed in people and helps them make more informed choices later on. So you've got some upcoming events coming up?
Yep, so the Memorial Day High Visibility Engagement Campaign runs from Friday the 27th of May through the 31st, Tuesday the 31st of May.
Okay. And do you want to talk a little bit about what's going to go on with that?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that, this message will get out there for some of my community engagement. I haven't really decided what else we'll do for community engagement, but I anticipate that the sheriff's office and the village police will be out on the road,
Right.
trying to target some impaired drivers.
Excellent. And real quick, we were talking earlier too that, you know, people do need to be more careful because the penalties are vastly harsher than they were, say, even 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
Yeah, so, you know, there's a big financial cost to any DWI conviction. You know, you've got court fees, lawyer fees, fines.
Could potentially
your insurance
harm your
is going to
job.
go up. Yeah, you could lose your job. If you're convicted of a DWI in New York, you have to install an ignition airlock device in your car, which means you have to blow into it to operate it, and there's a cost associated with that. But definitely the penalties are more severe. You know, if you get 3 or 4 DWIs lifetime, there's a good chance that you're not going to drive again legally in New York State. And that's changed since I've been a probation officer in the past 10 or 11 years. You know, I had people before with 7 or 8 DWIs who were getting relicensed, and now I have, you know, guys or gals still in their 30s with 3 or 4 DWIs and are never going to be able to drive again in New York State.
Right. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely what you're doing is beneficial, trying to stop the offense from happening rather than, you know, trying to fix it after the fact.
Right.
The work you do is so important. If anybody needs or wants some additional information about what you do, or I am sure, do you have a website or a Facebook page where people can be involved with this?
Well, the Stop-DWI, the state has the Stop-DWI webpage if you just search New York State Stop-DWI, but our local program, you can find us on the Lewis County website under the probation tab. You can find us, and I think you can also find us under the district attorney's tab on the county webpage. Okay.
Are you ever looking for volunteers to help with any of your simulations or things like that? Would if someone was looking to be a part of that?
I would certainly encourage that.
Would you? Okay. The same way, was that how they would get a hold of you for stuff like that?
Yeah. Through there, or call us at the probation department, or 315-376-5358.
Okay. Again, Matt, thank you so much for stopping in. What you do is so important for not only our community, but every community. So I hope your future events are a success, and he needs volunteers. So
yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming in, Matt.